Hendrick Motorsports, once again, domination. Yo, what's up everyone? My name is Jett. Welcome back to the episode of MDK Racing Victory Stop. A quite calm race at Vegas. It had its moments, but from what happened last year's races, not just race, but races were so fun and entertaining. This race was but man, did Hendrick came to play. They absolutely dominated this race. I mean, Hendrick Motorsports led, I believe, all but 30 laps. That equates to around 90% of the races were led by Hendrick drivers. William Byron led the most laps with 176. I believe Kyle Larson led 63 and Bowman led 2, or something around that range, but absolute domination. Stage 1, Stage 2 was won by William Byron. I mean, no one could touch that 24 car. Logano led the first 9 or so laps before Byron took over, didn't look back. And the entire race was categorized by this. 3 things. Number 1, the Chevys are strong, especially Hendrick Motorsports was strong. I mean, HMS, Byron, Larson, and Bowman were 1, 2, 3. In one way, shape, or form, they were 1, 2, 3 for majority of the race. The Toyotas also held their own. 2311 Racing, both Reddick and Bubba showed a lot of speed. And boy, did the Fords struggle. They struggled in this race. When Stage 3 happened, everyone thought this is going to be Dover 2021 all over again, where it's just Hendrick domination from start to finish. But later on, you started to see maybe a couple drivers that could maybe dethrone HMS. Drivers like Bubba Wallace, maybe Daniel Suarez, Martin Truex Jr., and Denny Hamlin. It was really the Toyota drivers, those group of guys that seemed to have the car that was capable, maybe not actually beat HMS, but at the very least was capable of taking their crown. Now, what happens when you put 3 of the most aggressive drivers in the Cup Series together 3 wide in a corner? Carnage happens. Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski, and Joe Logano enter turns 3 and 4. Logano and Keselowski, they get together. Logano goes up, smacks and spins, smacks the wall, and then spins towards the grass to bring out the 3rd caution at that time of the race. The damage was too much to repair, and they took it behind the wall and they were done for the day. Tough break for the pole sitter. They didn't really show much speed. Outside of those 10 or so laps led, Logano was outside the top 10, even in the top 15 for a good portion of the race. And then Denny Hamlin, Chris Gabehart, credit to those guys. They made the race very interesting. After that caution, they took 2 tires. Everyone else took 4. And then you had Hamlin going up against a bunch of HMS guys of Bowman, Byron, and Larson. And we saw for about 4 or 5 laps some fantastic racing. I mean, first Hamlin and Larson put up a really entertaining fight. Hamlin was doing his damnedest to try and hold off those 4 fresh tires of Larson, Bowman, and Byron. And so much so that it was even bringing in other drivers into the category, like Ross Chastain, Martin Truex Jr., Tyler Reddick even into the mix. But eventually, fresh tires would prevail. Larson was just on Hamlin's bumper the entire time, and Larson was able to get by him. But even behind Larson and Hamlin, some entertaining racing with Harvick, Chastain. Even had Tyler Reddick go into turns 1 and 2, go up, just side swipes the wall just a little bit, but kept on going. Some fantastic racing even behind the leaders. And that lasted for, like I said, about 4 or 5 laps. It was really entertaining. But after that, things cooled down. Larson checked out. Or so we thought. Of course, in NASCAR, anything can happen. 3 to go. In turn 3 and 4, Eric Almirola gets sideways, smacks the wall, brings out the caution. Now, I'll be honest. I will admit, I think it was a caution that was a bit warranted. He was sideways, I will say, okay, I could see that was a caution. But that whoever's in control at race control, they were way too trigger happy with that one. I do think I could understand it being a caution. I'm 50-50 on it, but they were way too trigger happy with that caution light switch. But the caution comes out. Truex on 30 some odd lap tires stays out. Larson and Byron, they come off pit road. Byron barely beats Larson, setting up NASCAR overtime. On NASCAR overtime, you had Truex down low, Byron up top, and Bowman makes a bold 3-wide pass to the middle to try and take up 3rd place. Denny Hamlin goes up top, way up top. He falls out of the top 10 while he had a 4-wide battle behind them. Truex is able to hang on with Byron just a little bit, But entering turns 3 and 4, Byron, with those 4 fresh tires, just swoops on by on the outside, passes Truex like he was nothing. And Truex then holds up all the drivers behind him, including Alex Bowman. Coming to the white flag, you now have 5 drivers under a blanket for second place. Entering turns 1 and 2, Truex drives in hard, slides up, puts Bowman then in the wall. Bowman smacks the wall just a little bit. Then Larson comes up, tries to block Bowman. That allows Bubba Wallace to get into the mix as they crash behind him. 5 or so cars revolve, including Allmendinger and Brad Keselowski. Bowman and Larson still battling hard while their teammate William Byron goes on to win at Las Vegas for his 5th career win of his Cup Series career, his first win at Las Vegas, and this is his first win since Martinsville in 2022 in the spring. This is also the 3rd career 1-2-3 finish for Hendrick Motorsports. Byron led the most laps with 176. And yeah, like I said, there was that 5 or 6 car pileup involving Allmendinger, Keselowski, I think Michael McDowell. They were all okay though. Let's take a look at the race results. Byron, Larson, and Bowman 1, 2, 3. Bubba Wallace, the highest Toyota driver, in 4th place, and a great run for him in that 2311 team. Bubba was a top 10 car the entire race, so it was nice to see him get a top 5 finish. Toyota teammate Bell in 5th. Austin Cindric, I'm surprised. Do you have 2 Fords in the top 10? To be fair though, they should not have been anywhere near the top 10 because they were horrible. Even Harvick wasn't that good, but still, Harvick was able to salvage a 9th place, and Cindric, a very impressive 6th place finish for him. Sandwiched between those drivers is Truex and Justin Haley, a quiet 8th place finish for that team. And Daniel Suarez rounds out the top 10. Then you got Hamlin, Chastain, Blaney, who was outside the top 15 for majority of the race. Kyle Busch smacked the wall earlier in the race, really early in the race, and that kind of messed up how the car drove, the feeling of the car. He wasn't that much of a factor. I think may have gone to up as high as maybe 7th or 8th place, but wasn't a factor all race long. Finishes in 14th. Tyler Reddick started last. I'll tell you what, Tyler Reddick is a wheelman. He started last, came up to 15th place in about 20 or some odd laps. He was flying, then had a setback, then came back forward. He was going back and forth. Even after he smacked the wall, he was able to drive his way up a little bit and then fell back. I mean, Reddick is a wheelman. I love Reddick. Even though he had a 15th place finish, the results does not, in my opinion, speak how fast of a car he had. I mean, at one point, Reddick was ahead of Bubba. They were both, I think, in 6th or 7th place. Like, Reddick had a real fast car. Eric Almirola, Keselowski, Allmendinger, Jones, and LaJoie round out the top 20. Some other notables. You have Buescher, Gibbs, Priest, Stenhouse, the 500 champ, McDowell, Harrison Burton, Austin Dillon, Chase Briscoe, 28th place. I don't know what happened with him, but he was just off the whole day. Josh Berry in his first start, he got into the wall a couple times, 29th place finish for him. Noah Gragson had a lot of penalties. He was caught speeding, and then when he came onto pit road to, service his penalty, he got caught speeding again. So when that happens, you might as well just take yourself out. 30th place for him. Gillen 31st, McLeod 32nd, and then the rest of the field. Joey Logano started first, ends up dead last. So, what are my thoughts on this race? Well, let's talk about from the broadcast booth. Let's start up with there. Danica Patrick was on Fox with Clint Boyer and Mike Joy. I'll be honest, she was better than last year. She was a lot better than last year. There are some fans that really didn't like her. I honestly didn't mind her. I didn't think she did that bad. I thought she was okay. You could tell, though, there is not much chemistry because a lot of times Danica wanted to say something, and then they would always either cut her off or something. Like it was real funny the chemistry between those 3 guys, especially between Danica and Clint. You could tell there wasn't that much chemistry between the 2. It was kind of funny, some of the moments. Fox still has a tendency to keep showing kids. Don't know why, but all right. It's not a new issue. But yeah, the broadcast was okay. It was okay. Nothing special. Commercials weren't that big of a deal, which good, but overall I think the broadcast was serviceable, in my opinion. The race, again, like I said, the race was a lot more calm than last year. I was quite surprised. This was a meh race. I think this is the first mile-and-a-half race that's not a monstrosity like Texas. A proper mile-and-a-half racetrack that, I mean, it was It was just I did like the long green flag runs. There was some strategy involved. I did like that. But it was just like it wasn't anything special. It was very strung out. Until the last stage, until that moment with Hamlin and those guys on 2 tires. That part was awesome to watch. But other than that, really not much happened in this race. But I will say, quick shout out to IndyCar. One hell of an opener. If I had to rate this, because it was a triple header, you had IndyCar, F1, and NASCAR, I give IndyCar number 1, NASCAR number 2, and F1 in dead last. Alonso made that race fun, but other than that was it. But yeah, overall, I give this race maybe 6.5, maybe. Again, it had moments, but and there was some nice strategy. I did like the field, the strategy that was involved in the race, the long green flag runs. I did enjoy that. It was nice to see the drivers having to work the wheel, especially Tyler Reddick. But other than that, really nothing much happened. So I give it a 6.5 out of 10. But what are your thoughts on this race? Did you like it? Did you not? Man, I've said this. I've said this numerous times with Byron. I just want to say this before I end things off. I said this with Byron. Him and Rudy Fugle. If they can get working, we saw it last year. In the first half of last year, that 24 team was on it, and they fell off in the second half. But this year, if they can just stay connected, that 24 car is going to be dangerous. Hendrick Motorsports is going to be dangerous. The Fords, I'm worried about the Fords. This isn't the first time we have heard about the Fords struggling. This isn't a new issue. So I'm a bit worried about with the Fords and how they handle on next weekend at Phoenix and the week after that. I think at Atlanta and Coda. Very interested. A lot of storylines to talk about from this race. But thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more content. Until next time, my name is Jett from MDK. Congratulations to William Byron, your winner at Las Vegas.